Welcome. I'm Megan Farrell here to tell you about crowdfunding and how you can be successful at it. I know a lot of nonprofits, but especially entertainers are and artists are struggling in these days with the shutdown of live events. So I've taken the liberty to update this presentation that I had done previously for nonprofits, focusing especially on some friends of mine who are trying to figure out how to maintain their artistic careers at a distance. If the If you just want to know what the options are, what the platforms are, I've organized them by artists, focusing for artists, and then focusing for nonprofits. So for artists and entertainers, Kickstarter, GoFundMe, Indiegogo, and Patreon, Patreon, are my suggestions for you. And for nonprofits, you have Mobile Cause, Facebook Causes, and Donately as some of the platforms that I would lift up for you as legit places to look at. And we'll look a little bit more later. Another cool thing that's going on, if you are organized as a small business, Intuit QuickBooks is giving away $1 million on GoFundMe specifically. So if you tag them and the Small Business Relief Initiative in your GoFundMe campaign, you can tap into some of those funds possibly. So who am I? I'm here to tell you a little bit about how to get started with this digital world of fundraising and staying connected to your audience. I've done this for 10 years with my previous business, Feral Inc. I was an author and trainer in the field of adult education. So I wrote some books, some online courses, did a bunch of webinars, traveled the country doing conferences, started an AmeriCorps program and several other pilot programs in the field of adult literacy. And then I have recently, a couple years ago, made the transition to working in religious education, focusing specifically on a Montessori-based form of religious ed, providing materials for that. But even though I'm now focusing more on churches or religious schools, there's still a lot that's the same between nonprofits and, I'm a maker myself, live off my craft. So I hope other folks will find this helpful. If you want to find this again later, go to blog.mussy.org. And actually, this Keep Teaching and Stay Connected with an LMS is another webinar I did yesterday. So this one will be called Crowdfunding 2020 if you want to check it out. So why do crowdfunding to begin with as opposed to grants? And obviously, with live events disappearing, why inspire people to give to you? Maya Angelou said, I have found that among its other benefits, giving liberates the soul of the giver. So there are a lot of people out there right now who are just hungering for ways to continue to contribute to the community in this time, and you can tap into that to keep yourself and your craft and your artwork out there for the world. So when I say crowdfunding, what exactly do I mean? My first experience with it was in Girl Scouts myself as a kid, right? You go out and you sell a bunch of cookies to make money. So crowdfunding specifically is defined as the practice of funding a project or venture by raising many small amounts of money from a large number of people, typically via the internet. And it's that internet part, that digital part, that makes crowdfunding kind of new and interesting and a good option for you when you're not able to get out there and be with your audience. How can you still stay connected with them and keep those tip jars coming in digitally? Also, this is a growing part of our economy. So World Bank projects that crowdfunding is going to be somewhere between 90 to 96 billion industry by 2025. And I have to say, with what's going on right now in 2020, I think that number is low because a lot of people are very suddenly around the world making this switch to trying to stay connected digitally. So crowdfunding, I think, is one of those areas of the economy that's just going to continue to blow up exponentially. So how does this system of social selling works? First of all, you have social capital. You have an audience. You have people who support your mission, your vision, whatever it is you're out there trying to do. And a crowdfunding is the process of taking that social goodwill and turning it into dollars and cents. So this has been done for many years, for hundreds of years actually, of going around to different places, getting subscriptions, getting little contributions. But the internet allows us to do this in a very unique way. So I have had my own successes with crowdfunding that I want to share with you. I did a Kickstarter project back in 2013 that had 55 backers, and I raised over $3,000. And this was to do some research. The $3,000 mainly was to fund a plane ticket and lodging to go to Ireland to do some research in a library that was only available there, and to write a manuscript that is currently unpublished. But my backers in the Kickstarter campaign have seen that, and I guess it's um, in some academic publications. So Kickstarter specifically is a unique platform. I really like it because people who are looking to support the arts go there to look for projects. They're much stricter about their campaigns than other platforms are. And another thing that's unique is you set a minimum goal and you have to meet that minimum goal to get a single dollar, which it actually is really helpful in motivating more people to give. So one of the things that is a little tricky about Kickstarter is that you have to promise certain perks to your audience. If they're going to back your campaign, they have to get something out of it. So, maybe you're giving them, as you're sending them something in the mail, you're sending them something digitally. I promised people pictures, and my camera actually got stolen in the airport on the way back from Ireland. So, you just got to be careful sometimes um, with uh, with your perks. And the other thing you have to plan for is they're going to take a cut. Any of these, or not any of them, but a lot of them are going to take a cut for the processing fee. So a Kickstarter has a higher processing fee even than some of these other platforms, but I think the higher quality of the platform definitely brought in, for me, probably an extra $1,000 of people who are not people who I knew previously who gave to my campaign simply because they found me on Kickstarter. Okay, another crowdfunding event that I've been involved in for several years is to raise funds for childhood cancer research. This is Rebecca Meyer, who was a friend of my son since they were literally weeks old. And she got brain cancer. And so we started getting involved in an organization called St. Baldricks, where you shave your head or cut your hair to raise funds for childhood cancer research because there's just not a lot of treatments out there available for children. And unfortunately, that was the case for Rebecca. She did try some trials, but they were not successful. So, but we continue to raise in her honor every year. One or both of my boys raise funds. And so we've had a good amount of success, anywhere from $700 to over $2,000 a year that we personally have raised. And then the event that we're involved in also has raised significant funds every year. And so I want to, based on my success and some of the research that I've done into crowdfunding, I want to share with you some tips for how you can have a successful crowdfunding event to help you get through these times, or maybe even have a sustainable income. So what are you going to do first? The first thing you need to do is go out and support other projects. Do not try to launch a crowdfunding campaign until you know what it's like to be a donor. You need to know what that process looks like. You need to know what you like or dislike about different platforms. Even if you just give $5 or $10 to a few different people, it's going to help you know what it looks like from your audience's point of view. Secondly, plan with your team. If you don't have a team, find one, okay? Even if it's just one other person to bounce ideas off of. Again, you have to know what it looks like from the other end before you just throw this stuff out into the world. And it also helps to have that encouragement to have somebody holding you accountable. The third thing you have to do is figure out how to tell your story. And hopefully you're an artist or a musician or a nonprofit. You're trying to, or a craftsperson, maybe a woodworker like me, find the best way that's going to highlight what your vision is, what you're going to do with the money that you get. Finally, you had to set up the actual platform, and this can take time. If you are under review by that platform, you have to connect your banking accounts. You have to set up all your perks, all that sort of thing. So give yourself time to set up this platform. There may be waiting periods. It's not going to happen in one day. But once you're all set up and approved, then you launch. And when you launch, make sure to give yourself a very firm timeline so that you're not doing this every day, every year. Think of it like a digital tour, okay? You need to think of your crowdfunding launch like the launch of a tour that you're giving where you're going to travel around, and it's a specific amount of time. Okay, so and I know how much my friends who are musicians, artists, when I went around doing conferences for my books, it's not a simple thing to organize that sort of thing. But you get in front of as many people as possible to talk about this campaign to meet your goal. Then you're going to hustle to get out there, to get in front of people. And of course, you're going to be doing that digitally instead of face to face. So it will be different. It may be different, especially if you're somebody who's used to doing live. But then set yourself a deadline. No matter how you did, if you raise $5, if you raise $500, if you raise $5,000, give yourself a huge pat on the back. Celebrate whatever success that you have, okay? And really have fun, and then chill out. All right. So for step one, supporting other campaigns, guess what? We're doing St. Baldricks this year. It was supposed to be on March 15th, and that did not happen because of coronavirus. So, but Sean, my son Sean, who is the guy in the striped shirts in both of these pictures, when they were 2 and when they were 6, and me, Megan, I'm cutting my hair, he's shaving, you know, go and please give us $5. See what it's like to give. See how it liberates your soul, as Maya Angelou says. And of course, fund research on childhood cancer, please. So once you've supported these adorable children, let's look at some other projects that I did in supporting before I made my own, and like what made them successful. So and this is a buddy of mine, DJ Doc in Cleveland, who uses hip hop recording and performance to do youth camp in the summers. And so it's called Fresh Camp, and it's a combination of gardening, healthy choices, healthy living, community cleanups in the neighborhood, all that sort of thing, plus writing about it, performing. They put out a CD. At least one CD, if not more. So you get music out of it, out of supporting this campaign. What helped them reach their $17,000 goal were just that it had a mission, that it was connecting back to the community, and also there was a very specific perk that you get at the end. You get 5 albums out of this thing, so it was pretty neat. They also had an existing community, and they had stretch goals. So they had their minimum goal. This is what we have to do. This is what we have to get to make the camp happen. And then, if you give more, you'll get more, and we can do more. So, if you guys as a community support us to this level, then we can do this with it. And if you support us to this level, you can do this. So they made a lot more than their minimum. Reading Rainbow, I mean, it's LeVar Burton, so that's what makes it work, right? It was one of the largest Kickstarter campaigns of all time, but using nostalgia, using things that people are familiar with is okay. As an artist, as a maker, you don't always have to give people something new and innovative. Sometimes people, especially in these times, want something comfortable. Maybe, they don't want a new album. Maybe they just want to see you in a video playing live music or whatever it is. They can support your YouTube channel, but they're private videos, or they can get a free, whatever it is. Tap into that comfort and give them really awesome perks too. Stuff in the mail is nice. It's complicated to send, so that's just something else to think about. Okay, so creating a team. This is another campaign that was a docu-series that had this team of 4 women traveling around the country doing interviews. So if you have a team and you can showcase your team, that it's not just, support me as an individual, but you can say, I collaborate with this person, or, we're going to get together and do this. The Toronto Symphony Orchestra did a really neat video recently where they had members of the orchestra all recording from home, but then they merged all the tracks, all the videos into one master video. So it's possible to still have a team, still collaborate digitally. So, and this particular documentary raised with over 400 backers, over $28,000. So, and again, it was a very defined, specific thing that you were funding and that you were going to get out of it, which is a 10-episode series. Telling your story using video is the way to go. So this was a really funny video of something that I backed. Honestly, not at all, because not at all. I liked the end result. It was a something writing, but it was also videos of cats, and it was adorable. All right. So use cats or kids or whatever. Don't exploit kids, but keep it light, keep it funny. All right. So step 3, tell your story, or step 2, tell your story. Step 3, tell your story. You're going to use video, and then you're also, every single person you talk to, you should be able to tell me in a sentence or two what I'm going to get out of your project and what it is. Or can I help in some other way? So if you get to the end of this and you want me to back your project, by all means, pitch me, okay? Email me, tell me what you want to do, and I'll throw a couple bucks your way. I would love to do that. So pitch me, tell your story. You can practice on me, but also expect that I'm going to pay you not only in money, but also in feedback if I think you can improve in any way. Okay, finally, you got to set up your platform. So as I said in the beginning of the video, I have a few different options here for nonprofits. Mobile cause, Facebook causes, and Donately is the way to go. And they will not charge a transaction fee on many of these, so double way to go. For artists or makers or musicians, you're going to want to go with Kickstarter, GoFundMe, Indiegogo, or Patreon, Patreon. Patreon is neat because it's kind of like a membership for your artwork. So, if you've ever done a YouTube channel or a podcast or something like that, you can have your regular version of it, and then you can have kind of a membership version that people pay for, some added content. As I said at the beginning, Intuit QuickBooks is giving away $1 million through GoFundMe. So tell them all about it. And once you've set up your platform, you've connected all your stuff, go ahead and get out there and launch and be excited about it. Hustle, hustle, hustle. What does that mean? There is nothing in the world like individual personal asks, okay? Text people, call people, email people individually. Don't just post it on Facebook and expect people to throw money at you. They will, maybe, if you have that social capital out there. But really, if you do an ask on the phone one-to-one, you're going to have a much higher success rate. It's going to be much more worth your time to do one-on-one individual outreach. There's nothing like it. If you can do events, do a digital event. Have a online launch event. Even in this time, especially in this time, having something that you can feel connected to other people, like an online concert or dance party, or painting. People are doing, paint with. My kids are watching like Paint with Bob Ross right now, stuff like that. Still having something live that people can be involved in. And then, of course, focus on those perks and make sure you follow through, okay, as much as you possibly can, unless somebody steals your stuff, like in my case. But, if it's at all humanly possible, stay true to your word and fulfill those perks in the timeline that you say you will. So, will you celebrate success? This is the big question mark about whether or not crowdfunding is worth it. So there's some things that you need to know in terms of your success rate, okay? For Kickstarter started in 2009. By 2016, they had over 74,000 project submissions, people who wrote up a whole thing and submitted it to them to review. Only 77% of those actually launched, and 33% were fully funded, meaning they got any of their money. Because you got to remember, on Kickstarter, you don't make a dime until you make all $100 of whatever your minimum goal is. So that's why those quote unquote stretch goals are so important, because if you meet your minimum but then people really like it, what extra stuff are you going to do? But if you don't meet that minimum, you're not going to get your money. So since they launched in 2009 until 2016, when I got these stats, 9% of the funded projects fail to fulfill their perks. So don't be that person, okay? Because then you can never go back to those same people again and ask for more money. They're not going to stay as an audience member if you didn't actually deliver on what you said you were going to do. Mobile cause. This is for the nonprofits out there. They found that folks on their platform who used video to tell their story raised, on average, 4 times as much as text-based or pictures-only campaigns. On their platform specifically, 62% of the people who gave to these campaigns were new donors to the organization. So crowdfunding really allows you to reach a new audience than maybe your traditional face-to-face audience. And they found that 28% of those people gave a second time. So you can not only bring in new people, but you can keep new audiences this way. They found they had an average of $568 raised per individual. So if you had a team of people, and you had 2 people on your team, then, that doubles your amount. So again, this is why having a team is important. They also found that clubs worked for them, but thank you gifts reduced donations. So this sounds weird because we talked about doing perks, right? But perks, in terms of being an exclusive club, people want an experience more so than they want stuff. So just take that for whatever it is. So being part of something is more important to people, and they will give more money to just give than if they're getting something in return. So here's my checklist for success. Have a clear project in mind. Tap your existing community, organize a team, communicate your plan and your timeline to meet that plan. Shop around for the platform fees or which platform works best for you with your existing audience. Develop events and deadlines. Be flexible, because things take time. I found that things were delayed with launching my campaign. So, don't set a Facebook event when you haven't been approved by Kickstarter or something yet. But, make sure that you have actual live things that people can connect to. And, everybody waits till the last minute for those deadlines. And also use video. You can quadruple your donations with video. So I end this by saying, if you liked this video, if this was at all helpful to you, please give to childhood cancer research. It's still an issue, even though we can't come together in person right now to shave our heads or cut our hair or even go to the salon to get it done. This is still very important. And no, I won't give you a thank you gift, except just to say thank you for doing a good thing. So I hope that this inspired you, that you can make this happen. You can make that extra $500 or that extra $5,000 to really keep you going with your career. And most importantly, to get your artistic vision, to get your craft out there in the world, because people need you. So go be the help that you are meant to be. Live your dream. I would be remiss if I didn't actually credit the people who took these photos. And again, if you want to find this in the future, if you can find me at blog.mustsee.org. This is not called, you can find Keep Teaching and Stay Connected with an LMS, but this one is called Crowdfunding 2020. So thank you. God bless you, and may you have wonderful success making your dreams come true.